How does a single life, tragically cut short, ignite a firestorm of outrage that sweeps through a bustling city, drawing thousands into the streets to demand justice and accountability? How does one young man's death become a catalyst, exposing deep-seated frustrations and challenging the very foundations of power? This is the gripping and poignant story of Jakarta in late August 2025, a narrative woven from grief, defiance, and the clamour for change, all sparked by the death of Affan Kurniawan. The story begins not with a roar, but with a sudden, devastating silence. It was a day like any other for Affan Kurniawan, a young Indonesian man whose life was abruptly and tragically ended while in police custody. The details were murky, as initial reports from authorities often are in such cases. The police claimed an unfortunate incident, a medical emergency perhaps, but the family and their community knew better. Whispers quickly turned into shouts as word spread through the tight-knit neighborhoods of Jakarta that Affan, a healthy young man, had died not from natural causes, but from what they believed was a brutal act of police misconduct. The grief of his family was profound, a raw wound that demanded answers, and in their anguish, a spark of indignation was lit. That spark quickly caught fire. Jakarta, a city of millions, vibrant and often chaotic, began to stir with an unfamiliar intensity. It started small, with solemn gatherings outside Affan's home, then quickly grew into vigils outside the local police station, where tears mingled with fierce demands for an investigation. The anger wasn't just for Affan, it was for every perceived injustice, every unanswered question, every instance of alleged police brutality that had, until now, simmered beneath the surface of daily life. Social media, a powerful amplifier in Indonesia, erupted with hashtags and shared stories, turning Affan's name into a rallying cry. Within days, thousands began to mobilize, driven by a collective sense of outrage and a hunger for justice. The protests swelled, transforming from peaceful vigils into massive demonstrations that choked the city's arteries. On this particular sweltering August day, the focal point of the fury was the majestic, imposing building of the Jakarta governor's office. Thousands of protesters, a sea of determined faces, converged on the building. They carried banners emblazoned with Affan's face, alongside slogans demanding "Justice for Affan" and "End police brutality." Their chants echoed through the humid air, a rhythmic and unrelenting demand for accountability. Many wore black, a somber testament to their mourning, but their voices were anything but somber, filled with a defiant energy that pulsed through the crowd. You could feel the raw emotion, the shared pain, and the absolute refusal to back down. The situation soon escalated. The authorities, perhaps unprepared for the sheer scale and intensity of the public's anger, deployed a heavy contingent of riot police. Rows of officers, clad in protective gear, formed a formidable barrier around the governor's office, their shields gleaming in the afternoon sun. Initially, the police issued warnings, blared through loudspeakers, urging the protesters to disperse. But the crowd held its ground, their determination unwavering. The air grew thick with tension, a palpable sense of an impending confrontation. And then it began. The police launched their first volley of tear gas canisters into the crowd. The acrid smoke billowed, burning eyes and throats, causing many to cough and stagger. But even through the haze, the protesters did not break. Many donned makeshift masks, covering their faces with cloths, their resolve hardened by the attack. Soon after, massive water cannons were brought into play, unleashing powerful jets of water that slammed into the demonstration, designed to push back the surging masses. The scene became chaotic, bodies pushed and shoved, some falling, others helping them up, a desperate dance between protest and suppression. Amidst the chaos, rocks and other projectiles were reportedly thrown by some protesters towards the police lines, met with baton charges and further bursts of tear gas. It was a street battle for the soul of the city, a desperate clash between authority and the people's fury. As the clashes intensified, arrests began. Police officers moved swiftly, singling out individuals from the crowd, dragging them away amidst shouts and cries of resistance. Dozens were detained, their fate uncertain, adding to the growing list of those caught in the maelstrom of the protests. The air vibrated with the sounds of sirens, shouts, and the relentless thud of police boots. The anger on the streets wasn't just about Affan, it was also a reflection of deeper societal grievances, a long-standing distrust of authority, a desire for greater transparency, and a yearning for a system where justice truly felt accessible to all, not just the privileged few. From official channels, there were swift, albeit measured, responses. The Jakarta police chief issued a statement appealing for calm and promising a thorough and transparent investigation into Affan Kurniawan's death. The spokesperson reiterated the official narrative of Affan's health complications while in custody, though no independent medical report had yet been released publicly. These statements, however, did little to quell the protesters' anger, who saw them as mere attempts to deflect blame and cover up misconduct. The family of Affan Kurniawan, still reeling from their loss, issued their own powerful plea, demanding not just an investigation, but independent oversight and tangible consequences for anyone found responsible. Their grief fueled the movement, reminding everyone that behind the headlines was a real family, shattered by an inexplicable loss. As the sun began to set over Jakarta, casting long shadows over the now damaged streets, the protests eventually began to thin, leaving behind a residue of tear gas, debris, and an unsettling quiet. But the impact of the day and Affan Kurniawan's story was far from over. The clashes in Jakarta served as a potent reminder of the fragile balance between state power and civil liberties and the enduring struggle for justice in a rapidly changing world. It raised critical questions for Indonesia about police reform, about accountability, and about the fundamental rights of its citizens to demand answers from those in authority. The fight for Affan Kurniawan's legacy became a symbol for countless others who simply sought to be heard, to be protected, and to have their dignity respected. If this compelling story of courage and struggle in Jakarta has resonated with you, if it has informed or inspired you, please consider showing your support. We would be grateful if you could like this video, share it with your friends and family who care about human rights and social justice, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel for more stories that bring crucial global events to light. Your engagement helps us ensure these important narratives reach a wider audience. Thank you for watching.